And inspiring, makes me question my life choices. Hello there, welcome back to Humble Running. Day 1, Broken Arrow is in the books. I did the Ascent this morning, got the hat to prove it. Says finisher on the side there. They actually give you this in your swag bag when you pick up your bibs and stuff, but I was careful not to put it on before I actually made it up there today. So I did, and now I got the hat on. This is my first time racing out at Broken Arrow. As I talked about in my last video, the Adidas Agravic SL video, I am doing the triple. I was a little bit skeptical of my chances of actually running all 3 races, but after today, feeling pretty decent. Actually, on the way back down of the run, pretty steep up and down, which was, I guess, the day before. Yes, this was yesterday, actually. The Ascent was today. Wasn't feeling too good coming downhill there. Legs were just feeling a little bit tight. First run back after running a marathon, trail marathon back in Boise just about a week ago. And after the Ascent this morning, obviously no descent involved, just a tiny bit actually, but you're pretty much going straight up there. Legs actually felt pretty good, and you know, I didn't have any cramping issues. Was able to run the majority of it, aside from some kind of small rocky sections, loose areas, but I was trying to really not give in to the power hiking, although perhaps could have been more effective. But in any case, the legs felt pretty good, so I'm all in for the 46K tomorrow. I know we're going pretty high and then right back down, and it's a 2-loop course, which is interesting. You run the same loop twice, steep up, steep down. So the 23K is probably more in question for me, depending on how the legs feel after tomorrow. So yeah, first time racing Broken Arrow for me. It's a massive event. It's crazy. If you're a fan of the sport and you know are interested in doing something like this, doing an event like this where you're kind of rubbing shoulders and literally on the start line with some of the best athletes in the sport, it's truly unique. Saw Caleb Olson out there, Adam Mary, I just said hi. Cam Smith was there, Rory Linkletter. I know he's coming over to trails from the road, so I've heard on the podcast and stuff like that. I congratulated Anna Gibson on the Olympics and just passing by and saying hi. She ended up winning this race, which was amazing. I also got a chance to chat, or actually have a long chat, with Jasmine Lowther of Arc'teryx. I'm not trail media really. I mean, I guess I do reviews, so I guess that makes me media in a sense, but I don't report on races, and you know, I follow as much as I can. So I'm running into a few people and sometimes I don't know who they are, and I was talking to her about Arc'teryx and the shoes that she had on, and I didn't realize who it was, and then I felt like such a dummy. But anyway, that's kind of how it is. Like, these pro trail runners are so humble and so nice, and you just can talk to anybody out there. We're all kind of doing the same thing, more or less. Yeah, I just want to share some clips on the race here. It was obviously super steep, super hard. I raced the Mammoth Dragon's Back Ascent. I actually did the triple out at Mammoth in the fall last year, so I went up the Ascent actually 3 times. But in the Ascent, that one felt harder for some reason. I don't know. I felt like I was in better shape back then, and I felt better this time for some reason. Perhaps I was just going slower or whatever, and it just wasn't able to push as much. But the Dragon's Back Ascent seemed like it was a little more exposed, a little more kind of like steep parts and stuff. This one was like a lot, or majority, runnable. There was very little that you couldn't actually run aside from that stairway to heaven section right near the very top. But you can really, if you're fit, and you know, some of those guys, Golden Trail type guys, have the big engine over there, you could really rip up that thing. So I wasn't in position to really go full gas, but I was happy with how I did out there. I mean, I didn't feel bad. Always good to feel good. It was fun, super scenic. There was a little bit of weather rolling in. It's kind of cloudy as I was coming up to the summit and, you know, seeing the finishers off in the distance. Then some clouds started coming over that ridge at the very end, that rocky section, and it was just super scenic and amazing, and kind of fog coming in over me as I was coming up to the finish line myself. Just an amazing kind of scene up there, and you get to that top there and there's just the mountains all around. Unbelievable. So I took a lot of clips and, you know, just sharing them along the way here. Sometimes I take clips and stuff like this, and then I end up getting a screen grab and posting it somewhere, and kind of, you know, they get lost wherever they get lost on the hard drive somewhere. So I thought it'd be cool to share some of these as kind of like a POV view. You don't often get that. You can watch the live stream and stuff like that. It's actually on Nike YouTube this time, which is super cool. As far as shoes, no, I didn't wear the Speedland RX LDVLs here. These just showed up before I left. Literally, I think the day I left actually. So I decided to throw them in the van with me and take them for a spin if I can, if I do have time with all this hubbub going on. But I did race in the NNormal Chirac 02s. Also threw on my Trado Trail Gators. They were awesome. I used the Trado Trail Gators last week in the Dirty Dog Trail Marathon in Boise with my Kip Run Kip Summit Max shoes. That was also another awesome setup. So 2 races so far in about 8 days, 7 or 8 days or so with those Trado Trail Gators. Highly recommended. I ran into Sean Bearden and I took some clips because he also had, was it Trail Sisters Trail Gators? He told me. But he was wearing the same shoes that I was wearing, and I didn't know who he was. And he said, "Oh, I'm Sean. I run." And he's telling me he's from Idaho too. Somehow we got to talking, and we're talking about Scout Mountain. And he says, "Oh, he helps put on that race." And I was like, "Oh, okay. I've been there. Raced the 50 and the 100 and all that stuff." So I asked what his name. He said Sean Bearden, and I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah." Oh man, I felt like again a dummy for not recognizing, but it didn't kind of trigger where that name was familiar to. But he did the Science of Ultra podcast, which was something that I highly recommend. It's not an ongoing podcast. He did it as kind of like this series of informational stuff, and he got what he wanted to get out into the world. It's a scientific-based, research-based podcast on the science of ultra running. You could take individual episodes. You don't have to go in any kind of order like that. He has interviews with some of the top like scientists and researchers into this kind of stuff. It's amazing. So yeah, Dr. Sean Bearden. His voice sounded different in real life than on the podcast, but I guess that can happen. Well, that was a little bit of an aside, but just trying to highlight who you may run into at some of these races like that, not just pro athletes and such, different types of media people that you may listen to or watch. And you know, I said hi to a lot of people that watched my videos, which was definitely always startling, saying hi. And I was actually registering, and the guy I was picking my bib for, he says, "Oh, I just saw your 055 video. Hey, I love the channel." I was like, "Oh, okay." Always kind of weird. So maybe I'm one of those small people in a sense. Another little tidbit as far as gear, I've got some stuff from Roark. I've got these shorts actually. These are kind of cool. Wild by Nature. This is more of like a fitness short here. They got like magnets on these pockets here. Very nice. They got a zip pocket in the back. Roark sent me some stuff, and I actually ran the Ascent in one of their tech t-shirts. I actually don't know. This is again like the shoes here. Roark sent me a few items literally like the day before I left, so I just threw them in the bag. So I'll put the names up on the screen. But I wore the t-shirt for the race. It's amazing. I always thought of Roark as like this fitness kind of brand, I think. Maybe like lifting, CrossFit, hybrid athlete kind of thing. Maybe I'm completely wrong. That was just my impression, but they do have some running specific stuff, or at least they're coming out with some running specific stuff. The t-shirt was amazing. I have a really cool like jacket. It looks pretty cool and it has some really nice features. Not cold enough to wear that right now, but these shorts I threw on post race, kind of like out and about in the village. They have a liner. It's a 2-in-1 liner here, which is nice and always preferable for me. I don't think this one is a pure kind of super lightweight trail running short, but shirt definitely is. So keep an eye out for some stuff from Roark on the channel, Roark, in case you haven't heard of them, which I had heard of them very little up until now. Other gear, just to run down the kit, I had my Bolle Striver glasses on. Not these, I had the big green ones. Those are really awesome. Those are actually my favorite running glasses right now, aside from my other Bolle, which are lighter and they have like a pinkish tint. Those are more for kind of cloudy conditions, but full sun, those Striver ones that I have are fantastic. Also wore the Raid belt, had a kind of half-filled bottle with like Never Second high carb drink mix in there, 90 grams. I think that was good for the race, and I had drank some at the start, so kind of had it maybe like 2/3 full by the time I actually started the race. And that was in my Raid belt, and had a little camera where I was taking the clips here. It actually ran out before the finish line, so don't have any clips on that very last section there, but for that one you can go check out Nike YouTube. Also had my Skyrace Run Anatomic socks on, the thin ones. They go great with the NNormal Chirac O2s. Also, big shout out to Skyrace. I picked up some Run Anatomic comfort socks at the booth yesterday. Those were the ones that I was wearing in the Agravic SL video. So Skyrace, one of my favorite sock choices for training and racing. Check those out. So I'll be back at it early tomorrow morning, 46K. I'll be wearing my Hoka vest with the integrated quiver because I am going to bring my Lucky FX1 super light poles. I didn't bring them today for the Ascent. I wasn't sure about the course. I didn't know if people really use them. I wasn't really sure. I saw people definitely using poles. Probably would have been helpful for the longer distance. Definitely want to have them. So I'll be out there in that 10-liter vest you saw in my Zenal video and those FX1 super light poles. Hopefully have a good race. And there's a steep part we had to walk down to get to the tram back down to the base, and I think those poles are going to be helpful for keeping myself upright going down that little descent there, and maybe some other bigger descents. Thank you for tuning in to this one. Maybe more race updates from the 46K and the 23K. We'll see how it goes. If I do both, maybe I'll combine them, or maybe just have one update there, and then we're gonna roll right into TrailCon. Looking forward to that. I've got a few exciting things for shoes and gear lined up, so keep an eye out, like and subscribe, notifications, all that stuff. I'll see you from sunny California next time.
Okay, so it's different.
We get like 4 workouts on.